We want to welcome to the program right now from the Virginia Shooting Sports Association, Mr. Dave Adams is with us. Dave, how you doing, sir?
I'm great, Cam. Thanks for having me back.
It is good talking with you, and we've got, I like seeing the headline from my NRA ILA Grassroots Alert, pro-gun bills on the move in the General Assembly. I don't like it when it says anti-gun bills on the move, but we've got pro-gun bills on the move in Virginia. What are we talking about here, Dave?
Well, you've got bills in both the House and the Senate. You've got, just to start off with, Senate Bill 1299, sponsored by Senator Joe Holzman Vogel, and House Bill 1852 from Delegate Todd Gilbert. Both of these bills are similar to bills that passed last year by the General Assembly that would allow someone with an unexpired protective order to carry a concealed handgun for 45 days after the protective order was issued, which would allow them the time to apply for a concealed carry permit. The bills passed last year. Governor McAuliffe vetoed them, and unfortunately the legislature was not able to override the veto. Senator Vogel's bill passed earlier in the session and passed with 28 votes, which is one more than you need to override a veto. And Delegate Gilbert's bill just passed today. So we're hoping that it will move over to the Senate. Will also pass with a veto-proof number, and then hope that we can sustain those numbers if Governor McAuliffe were to do what he did last year. There's also two bills by both of the patrons, the companion bills, that would pay for free or reimburse a firearms trainer for providing free training to someone who has been a victim of domestic violence so they can get a concealed handgun permit. And then finally, a really important bill, also a bill that passed last year that Governor McAuliffe vetoed, is Senate Bill 1023. This is the bill that keeps states like Maryland and New Jersey from going on fishing expeditions when they stop someone for a routine traffic violation and they find out they have a concealed handgun permit. It would prohibit the state police from sharing that type of information with a state that doesn't have a reciprocity agreement with Virginia.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the first bills that you mentioned, Senate Bill 1299, House Bill 1852. You said similar legislation vetoed by the governor last year. To me, this seems like the epitome of common sense gun legislation, Dave. You've got somebody that is not a prohibited person. They would and they will meet the requirements to get a concealed carry license in Virginia, but while they are waiting, because it takes time, it took me about a month to get mine, and I live in rural Virginia. It could take a little bit longer, depending on where you live. While you're waiting for that, and you've got that active order of protection out against somebody, you can carry legally a concealed handgun for self-protection. That's what this bill does. That's all this bill does.
That's absolutely right.
And Governor McAuliffe vetoed this.
He vetoed it, and he had some, I think the excuse he used was that he thought it was important that someone receive training before they carry a concealed handgun permit. But everyone knows in Virginia that anything from a hunter education course to a full-blown personal defense in the home course that NRA offers qualifies someone to get a concealed handgun permit, and no one expects someone who is under a protective order who would take advantage of this thing to not go out and seek training, but it does allow them to carry that concealed firearm to protect themselves while they're waiting for the official permit to come in.
Again, to me, this seems like real common sense legislation. So if you're a Virginia gun owner out there, it doesn't matter if you've got an R or a D representing you in the state Senate or the state House. Make sure that they know about these bills. Senate Bill 1299, House Bill 1852, Senate Bill 1300, House Bill 1853. And then we've got, Senate Bill 1023 as well, right, Dave?
Yes, that's the bill that keeps the fishing expeditions from anti-gun states. Yeah.
Okay, and did this also, is this new legislation this year, or did this also pass last year?
That passed last year and was vetoed by the governor, and the excuse he used for vetoing it was that he thought that it was a safety issue for law enforcement.
A safety issue for law enforcement?
Out-of-state law enforcement, I presume, is who he's referring to, because that's the one that it affects. That they would not be allowed to know that someone they stopped for a traffic violation has a concealed handgun permit in another state. Never mind the fact that concealed handgun permit holders are some of the most law-abiding people in the country.
Right. Yeah, we just saw more evidence of this from the state of Texas and their numbers released for 2016. Again, you're talking about, a 0.1% of concealed carry holders who have had their license revoked for any reason whatsoever, Dave. All right, so gun owners, now clearly is the time to be contacting your state legislators there in Richmond.
Absolutely. Both bills now will go over to the other house to be considered. And since these are with the exception of the 1023, the domestic violence-related bills are companion bills, so they passed in the House of Origination. I don't expect there to be any issues with Delegate Gilbert's bill in the Senate or Senator Vogel's bill in the House. And then once they pass the House, we will notify gun owners in Virginia that they need to contact the governor. Don't really want to do that now because he doesn't have the bills on his desk. But once they go to his office for a signature, that's when we want to be making our voices heard and known that we would like to see these bills signed. Absolutely right.
Dave, listen, I appreciate the update, sir. Have a great weekend. And I look forward to talking to you again very soon.
Thanks a lot, Cam.
Thank you, sir. Dave Adams joins us from the Virginia Shooting Sports Association.